deliberate process, waking up all the circuits that you need for active life during the day, why, you'd never get done. Because you have to do all those things at once. How can a centipede control 100 legs at once? Because it doesn't think about it. And so in the same way, you are unconsciously performing all the various activities of your organism. Only unconsciously isn't a good word, because it sounds sort of dead. Superconsciously would be better. Give it a plus rather than a minus. Because what a consciousness is simply a sort of specialized form of awareness. When you look around the room, you are conscious of as much as you can notice. And you see an enormous number of things that you don't notice. If, for example, I look at a girl here and somebody asks me later, what was she wearing? I may not know, although I've seen her, because I didn't attend. But I was aware. And perhaps if I could, under hypnosis, be asked this question, where I would get my conscious attention out of the way through being in the hypnotic state, I could recall what dress she was wearing. So then, just in the same way as you don't focus your attention on how you make your thyroid gland function, so in the same way you don't have any attention focused on how you shine the sun. So then, let me connect this with the problem of birth and death, which puzzles people enormously, of course. Because in order to understand what the self is, you have to remember that it doesn't need to remember anything. Just like you don't need to know how you work your thyroid gland. So then, when you die, you're not going to have to put up with everlasting non-existence, because that's not an experience. A lot of people are afraid that when they die, they're going to be locked up in a dark room forever. And sort of undergo that. But one of the most interesting things in the world, this is a yoga, this is a way of realization. Try and imagine what it will be like to go to sleep and never wake up. Think about that. Children think about it. It's one of the great wonders of life. What will it be like to go to sleep and never wake up? And if you think long enough about that, something will happen to you. You will find out, among other things, that it will pose the next question to you. What was it like to wake up after having never gone to sleep? That was when you were born. You see, you can't have an experience of nothing. Nature abhors of accident. So after you're dead, the only thing that can happen is the same experience, or the same sort of experience as when you were born. In other words, we all know very well that after people die, other people are born. And they're all you. Only you can only experience it one at a time. Everybody is I. You all know you're you. And wheresoever beings exist throughout all galaxies, it doesn't make any difference. You are all of them. And when they come into being, that's you coming into being. You know that very well. Only you don't have to remember the past. In the same way, you don't have to think about how you work your thyroid gland or whatever else it is in your organism. You don't have to know how to shine the sun. You just do it. Like you breathe. Doesn't it really astonish you that you are this fantastically complex thing? And that you're doing all of this and you never had any education in how to do it? Never learned? But you're this miracle? Well, the point is that from a strictly physical, scientific standpoint, this organism is a continuous energy with everything else that's going on. And if I am my foot, I am the sun. Only we've got this little partial view. We've got the idea that, no, I'm just something in this body. The ego. That's a joke. The ego is nothing other than the focus of conscious attention. It's like a radar on a ship. The radar on a ship is a troubleshooter. Is there anything in the way? And conscious attention is the designed function of the brain to scan the environment, like a radar does, and note for any trouble-making changes. And if you identify yourself with your troubleshooter, then naturally you define yourself as being in a perpetual state of anxiety. And the moment we cease to identify with the ego and become aware that we are the whole organism, you realize that the first thing, how harmonious it all is. Because your organism is a miracle of harmony. All this thing functioning together. Even those corpuscles and creatures that are fighting each other in the bloodstream and eating each other up. If they weren't doing that, you wouldn't be healthy. So what is discord at one level of your being is harmony at a higher level. And you begin to realize that, and you begin to be aware, too, that the discords of your life, and the discords of people's life, which are a fight at one level, at a higher level of the universe, are healthy and harmonious. And you suddenly realize that everything that you are and do is at that level as magnificent and as free of any blemish as the patterns in waves.
so, the best conductors would be those who played fastest. And there would be composers who wrote only finales. People go to a concert just to hear one crashing chord. Because that's the end. Existence, the physical universe, is basically playful. There is no necessity for it whatsoever. It isn't going anywhere. Existence, the physical universe, is basically playful. But it is best understood by analogy with music. Because music, as an art form, is essentially playful. Same way in dancing. You don't aim at a particular spot in the room. That's where you should arrive. The whole point of the dancing is the dance. Now, but we don't see that as something brought by our education into our everyday conduct. We've got a system of schooling which gives a completely different impression. It's all graded. And what we do is we put the child into the corridor of this grade system, so they kind of come on, kitty, kitty, kitty. And now you go to kindergarten, you know, and that's a great thing because when you finish that, you'll get into first grade. And then come on, first grade leads to second grade and so on, and then you get out of grade school, you go to high school, and it's revving up, the thing is coming. Then you're going to go to college, and by Jove, then you get into graduate school, and when you're through with graduate school, you go out to join the world. Then you get into some racket where you're selling insurance, and they've got that quota to make. And you're going to make that. And all the time, the thing is coming. It's coming. It's coming. That great thing is coming. It's coming. It's coming. That great thing, the success you're working for. Then when you wake up one day about 40 years old, you say, my God, I've arrived. I'm there. And you don't feel very different from what you always felt. By expectation, look at the people who live to retire and put those savings away. And then when they're 65, they don't have any energy left, they're more or less impotent, and they go and rot in a senior citizens community. Because we simply cheated ourselves the whole way down the line. We thought of life by analogy with a journey, with a pilgrimage, which had a serious purpose at the end, and the thing was to get to that end. Success or whatever it is, or maybe heaven after you're dead. But we missed the point the whole way along. It was a musical thing, and you were supposed to sing or to dance while the music was being played.
Well, hello. Hope everybody is doing well out there. Sorry for taking a brief little bit long, I feel like. Messing around too much on my... I think my webcam just is not gonna be on. That's how that's gonna go. Okay, whatever. That's how life's gonna be for this particular stream. We're gonna be webcamless. That's fine. You don't really need it for these streams. Wow, that's a little loud in my headphones. Okay. I have no idea what I'm gonna really do. As usual, I have no clue. Plans are for chumps. Fuck plans. All my homies hate plans, etc., etc. But let us start with some warm-up drawings, huh? I'm gonna try a new gesture drawing application. Hey, Cricket. Thank you so much. Thanks for stopping by. Always great to have you. I feel like I'm being annoying, just sort of like spamming all my friends with like, hey, look at my stream, but like, I don't really have anybody else right now to to watch my bullshit, and so no pressure, but also it's very helpful. Thank you very much for being here. Alright, let's see. I am decided to use quickposes.com today. So set me up with it. We'll see if that works any better. The pose reference thing that I was doing before was I don't know. It wasn't impressing me. It was great one time, but as like a long-term tool, kind of not my deal. It was a bit limited. It was there's a real art to like the best reference images, and not a sponsor, yeah, exactly. Yeah, anyway, so just seeing what else is out there in the universe for us, as far as like pose apps go. I'm also going on a little bit longer of a time here. I need to be able to see my little guy here. As always, my brain for gesture drawings is like 100% coded for like a top speed. So I actually like when I'm doing one, I think I set it to 3 minutes maybe. But like I have to like remember what that like means in actual like felt time going by. And so there's a sort of amount of like, alright, I sped through this whole thing. Wait a minute, I still have my fucking time left. So there's a It's one of the fun things about gesture drawings is they're very like, it's a real different landscape. What you can do in 30 seconds versus 2 minutes versus 5 minutes. All right. We done. Oh, that gave me 2 guys. That's no fair. You can't just be doing that. Let's see what we can do anyway. This guy's got kind of a... They're boxing. We've got a big boxing glove up here. We've got kind of a arm, this or that, head. And this guy's kind of jumping up to kick. I think his knee's about there. This is a very, very awkward and difficult pose. Good job. Good job, website. That's again, this is my opinion as of using it for exactly 2 poses long, but so far so good. These are fun. His head's a little further forward here. Okay. Now I'll be able to figure out how to like describe and shape how fucking massive this dude's leg is. I need that chonk. I don't know how well I can put that together in this amount of time. And then there's like a second dude. There's the second dude, and the second dude's like over here getting... I don't know if he's getting punched or if he's sort of like simulating... I think he's holding a pad or something up like that. It's just like this knee, it's like here. There's this huge muscle right here. This guy is absolutely... We can confidently say he didn't skip leg day, a phrase that I feel like dirty saying. I'm so like not a gym person. Oh God. I feel like a boomer saying memes when I say that. I said it. And this foot's actually more like here. Oh. And we're out of time. Okay. Another 2-guy pose. Really cheating here with these 2-guy poses. This fella's also doing a big ol' kick. I did ask them to give me fighty poses, so I can't really complain about that. This is one of those butt-heavy kick poses. You know the sort. Everybody knows them. There's a real, like... I'm not paying enough attention to it as it goes by, because I'm trying to focus on other crap during these drawings. Something to keep an eye on as I do more gesture drawings. But, great sort of like tension and weight to like the way that a body turns in these like this particular pose. There's this sort of like got his hand kind of behind his leg as a sort of counterweight. It's not touching it, but it's... I can sort of feel I can feel what my body would do in that pose, which is a helpful sort of like thing to think about. Like everyone's had the experience while drawing of getting out of their chair and like acting out whatever the hell it is that's going on in your drawing. Just try and figure it out. Where's the like points of tension? Where's the points of Oh, now we lost him. Okay. We lost him as if the radio signal went out. No. It's just my time's up. My time's up. All right. Next guy here is a. That's not gonna do me no good. This guy's like a spear guy. I really mean it on the Warriors. That's the name of this sort of like playlist. I don't know. Image playlist. Maybe I can just get the sort of like the top parts of this guy going. I do like da, 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 da. The spearhead is like down here. If I can just kind of like he does. It actually doesn't come across that great in the reference photo, but it's close enough that it just kind of naturally shows up in the drawing. He's got this real sort of like I don't know, thrust. You can really feel like the sort of energy of like the body weight behind the spear. That's I guess that's what I'm sort of like looking at there. Got this, just do an eye. I mean, we've got 3 minutes, why ever not? We can have ears. We can have a few. We can have a few ears as a treat. Alright, that's enough face. That's enough. I think. Kind of a big weird leather skirt thing that he's wearing there. So one of those very shirtless, or very hairless, shirtless men. You know. I don't know if I quite believe. Oh, time changed over. Same guy, and I think this is our 5th one. This will be our last one. Same guy, and similar kind of makeup here. Let's see if we can do just the. What's the top part of this guy again? Wowie, howie! This guy has some huge fucking shoulders. They're just pectorals that go all the way on up to his chin. We just got like a little chin here basically, and then the pectorals more or less end right about there, and then there's about that much neck. That's about how this gentleman goes. So he's got, you know, Collarbones out to there. Little shoulders. He's a gorgeous specimen. No. Doing really fantastic at my own use of wise use of time that I was just lecturing my own self about. That's all right. That's all right. The goal is pen on paper. More than it is a particular outcome. This guy is so yoked, he's like kind of hard to draw. And there's a kind of guy that just like, from an artist perspective, like, he's just a whole new collection of shapes, basically. There's the muscles create kind of a new shape of person. There's a mesomorphs, and then there's this guy. There's this sort of gigantomorph, you know? I should also say that's why, like, when people make fun of like Rob Liefeld or whatever, and like, oh, there we go. All right, that's enough for that. Stop discussion. That's why people make fun of that artist, Rob Liefeld. I think that's his name. Who draws the like gigantic, sort of cubic, sort of grotesquely cubic Captain America. And like, people make fun of that guy because his like anatomy is like not realistic, and I think they may be missing the point of his art. I think it is kind of grotesque to look at. It's kind of strange. This is a strange sort of visage of the male form, but I don't think he's trying to be like realistic. This is once again those sorts of things that, like, having figured out ahead of time how to show a screenshot correctly, but I'm not going to do that now. Fuck it. Get. So one thing that I was thinking about that might be fun to do for the day, that I definitely like need to do more of, I think. I've been kind of seeing people do them sometimes, are these I don't know how best to like put it, but like you take like a photo reference and draw it very like loosely, in a more like cartoony style, and it's a great kind of like little exercise in stylization. And Now, if you don't mind, I'm just going to go ahead and look at my Pinterest saves and see if I have anything on there that immediately like stems out to or jumps out at me as like good for this kind of thing. And I feel like I have. Yeah, there's plenty of places that we can start with here. Pinterest is great for finding just like random little references, obviously. But one thing about Pinterest that you got to do is never ever like, maybe not never ever, but like referencing Pinterest too heavily will give your art like very heavy copied it from social media vibes. There's a particular kind of like aha cringe that you can get with people, that I can get with people when I here. There lady, there she's interesting looking. Let's just get a bunch of these. Yeah, once they put you on the interesting faces algorithm, you know, you got your Pinterest is like, oh, you're not looking for classically beautiful people? Okay, we can do that. We can do that. We got plenty of them. You just gotta ask. Can we see some fellas? I've got a bevy of slightly unusual looking ladies here. Give me some fellas. They're not really unusual looking people. This is what you call Hollywood quirky. They're extremely beautiful people, but not like conventionally exactly. So you compare them to a bunch of Alka-Seltzer-y looking actors, and you can pass off the idea that like that one's the ugly one in the group. So you can make a book about the one ugly duckling and still have everybody be hot. Classic Hollywood trick. This fella's got a nice face. Now we're just moving back into the models direction. Alright, come on. How many is that? It's like 6 of them. Give me a handful more. That's a real early Renaissance painting kind of face. Quite enjoy that. Anybody else we wanna grab? Ooh, yes. Yes. Background Ghibli actor right there. Okay. It's just a straightforward face like a Rembrandt painting. Okie doke. Let's sort of organize these out a little bit. Easy enough way to do it. It's just kind of like that. Okay. Does that give me enough room? Let's see what we can manage here. Yeah, zoom level right in between those, if possible. Guy's got very pronounced cheekbones. Though I think I've given him a little too much noggin. Classic problem. Known for a little too much noggin myself, you know. Ooh, that's not where that needs to be, huh? Oops. There's a real, like... sort of break the nose into two parts here. But maybe more importantly is the fact that I haven't turned his face, I don't think, quite enough. Like, follow these contours around. I think the reality is that it's about more like that. Oh my god. Okay. And then this kind of comes around. Bottom of that bit there, sort of like right below the mouth, kind of like there. So I actually think I should bring it down just slightly further. He's actually got kind of a square jaw. He's actually got a very square jaw. Which I hadn't quite noticed because of the way that this cheekbone like projects out here. Now let's again, I would like to have him be more on the cartoony side, so I want to simplify out these shapes a little bit. Try and think my way through some of this in a more stylized direction. But I also want to be able to keep I'd like it to be able to look as much as possible like our guy here. If we were moving to like some inks. I think realistically it's not going to be that much of a likeness, but hey, that's not the end of the world. No. Take that again. I'm gonna have to simplify this mouth, I think. I don't want to draw him with quite such gigantically luscious lips. It doesn't translate quite though well. Though he's very full lips. So like in particular, there's the way that it kind of like this here like goes around and that part right there. It's such a just like interesting sort of line. At a certain level, our guy's just got big lips. That's just the way it's going to have to go. I guess in reality I should do something a little more simplified for here too. I keep kind of forgetting that I'm like cartooning. Or I'd like to be. If I'm cartooning, let's be a little bit less precise with some of these details. Let's get a little bit more particular about some forms. He said, adjusting things incredibly mildly. And continuing to render things. Well, you know what, fuck it. It's all my art anyway. It's that. Like there and like there. Almost there. Yeah. Alright, what surfaces am I getting wrong because I'm doing it wrong? Wrong. Wrong is hardly the right word. Is it the wrong word? I don't know. But oh, yeah, my primary style takes over, exactly. Well, no, so what's really funny here is, like, I used to be much cartoonier in my sort of, like, art style. I'd like to kind of come back to that and relearn how to do that, but I've kind of stuck myself in this place recently where I'm doing a lot more sort of, like, realistic and representational art, which has been nice, don't get me wrong. But it'd be nice to relearn how to do that sort of like more stylized kind of stuff. It's one of these weird things where I feel like looking back at my old shit, sometimes it's like, did I really draw that? Damn, I have no idea how. I'm not really... Oh... So at least part of today, and probably a lot moving forward, we'll be sort of doing some of that, the work of reclaiming that stuff. We're gonna have to figure out where this fucking cheekbone is. There's one of these. He's got such a like change in the like geometry of his face there. It's such an important part of it. I think actually what'll probably be the correct answer here is give up on this particular one and move on to the next one. in a moment when I actually... It's one thing to say, I'm not really giving up. It's more like just finish one and then move on to the next attempt. But like to... Yeah, it's a very shit or get off the pot kind of moment, I think. That's not too bad. That's what we're getting. That's where it's staying. Alright, next one. Peter Paul Rubens looking character. Come on. Let's make it a little bit larger. I don't know what I'm doing. Ah! I fought the machine, by which I mean my own drawing programs. I think this lady may also have some pretty strong cheekbones, but she's got a much rounder face in general, so they are somewhat obscured. That's too much side. That's too much side eye. Not that I mind a certain amount of side-eye. They're quite good for expressions, but that was simply too much. This was very much a not enough noggin situation. Subnoggery. Whoa, okay. Whoa, what did I do? Sometimes you just make the world's mildest line changes and the whole drawing turns into a completely different drawing. What do we? This is a copyrighted song. No. This is. You can't do that. That's just regular top 40 music. I'm not playing that on my screen, on my stream. Don't make them demonetize me before I've even monetized. Now, to be totally fair, I am not 100% sure that it will not declare this one to be copyrighted, as it has been quite ignoring my attempts at finding copyright-free music and just saying, screw it, somebody copyrighted that too. But I feel like that's less my fault, and at the moment, that's it's not really one I can afford because I don't, or that I can avoid because I don't know how to like. I just haven't really solved it as a problem yet. But playing top 40 music on my channel, on the other hand, see now that's just making things easy for them. I do very much wish they didn't have that rule. It would be cool to play, you know. It'd be cool to just have like a little cool radio station. I've thought about commissioning some music. It's less expensive than you might think. Certainly it was less expensive than I thought. That's a better way of putting it. That's all down the fucking line, though. That's not... None of that's anything sort of necessary. I need to once in my life meet my 3 days a week schedule, you know, before I think about doing anything of that sort. How do you add more details to age a person in a style like this? I don't know. I'm kind of trying to figure that out myself. I imagine it's going to be a sort of a situation of kind of deepening these lines, and then yeah, just I would like to, like, as the face gets older and start to add like fat and whatnot, and the skin isn't so taut anymore. You get these sort of like deepening wrinkles in between sort of like forms. And so if I can just like kind of outline those forms with just the mildest sort of like lines, I can kind of get the sense of like I can kind of lead the viewer towards that kind of like thing. But we will have to see. We will have to see. Oh, hi kitty cat. We're having kitty cat hours over here. Progress may suddenly be stopped. Alright, hey guy. Hey guy. I know, I've rearranged the desk again. I keep doing that. Some of it's going to come down as well to where, like, line, like, I guess, tension, if you want to think of it like that, kind of is going to go. I need to be able to kind of, like, make sure that the whole face is sort of evenly emphasized by line weight. I don't know if I'm going to go to inks on this one. I think this turned out pretty good. Yeah, Tassai would like it to be baby time. He's still hanging out on the desk. Oh, Bubs. Oh, Bubs. If the webcam was working, I would have it turned on. Unfortunately, technical problems have deprived us of your beautiful face. It'd be fun to get my webcam hooked up to a better mount, or even kind of a even my like nice camera and do some physical art or traditional art. Physical. This is physical. But like traditional art in this space. It would be cool. It would be fun. We need to do a calligraphy stream. Just got a whole mess of very frizzy hair off of this side, I think. I think we're just gonna have to get our hands dirty and make some damn scribbles. I want to see ink this one because I can't figure out how I do it. Yeah, alright, I can. That's not... I welcome that as a challenge, let's put it that way. That's I'm not really sure how I'm going to do it either, but let's see. I have an extremely complete sketch here, so that helps me a lot. Calligraphy ASMR. Oh yeah, I get the directional mic going on it as well. I totally could. That would be sick. Hi, Kitty Cat. You are like really right between me and the keyboard, which I need. I need that keyboard. It's a very important thing for drawing at the right size. This is the perfect place for me to step. Alright. Very carefully walk out from behind here. Thank you. I have the whatever the opposite of an assistant is, a mild villain. Let's see. The other thing is that I haven't like done a lot of like cartooning work in a while, so like how precisely to go about like abbreviating forms is something that I'm a little rusty on. So I'm also kind of like figuring out how this is gonna go as well. Had a really good cartooning book, but I might have put it in a little free library. Oh, gotta get your botany book back to you. Oh, no rush on the botany book. Although, of course, eventually I would like it back. Let me know what the name of the cartooning book is if you remember it. I can probably get a copy. I like art books. One of my favorite kinds of books. I've been pulling a lot of my calligraphy books and design books out lately. It's been extremely fun. Really taking my time on this lady. Let's speed this up a little bit here. See, a good deal of any drawing like this is a matter of like which line do I include, which line don't I include? Because like as you can see right now, like her face is like 20 years younger than like I'm just barely sort of like edging out where some of these sort of like forms are gonna be, and it gives a very different impression of her face before I add those forms. Start adding on. A lot of what I like to do in general with this kind of drawing is like these little hair detail lines can go a long way towards kind of like adding a lot of extra stuff without, if you do them right, you can do it without getting the image too much busier. It's a real trick. They kind of have to all be following the same forms underneath, which is why you can sort of start to see that, like, on her there's this shadow edge that goes along kind of like right here, where the light source is coming from this direction, so there's these kind of like edge shadow areas created, and if I were to just sort of like shade this area in, though, it's going to get too dark and it's going to start, and even if I do something where it's like really close, like lines together, it's going to start taking far too much sort of like attention off to itself over here. And I can do this kind of like cross-hatching thing and get it to be like a, I'll picture a Ben Franklin or like an etching if I so desire to like spend that much time on it. But really what's a better thing to do is simply to add, there's like this kind of like shape right along here basically, where the shadow is slightly darker just for this little segment, like right along there basically, than it is here or here on either side. If I can just kind of like get that, if I can get that, because there's a plane of the face sort of like represented here, and then there's another one that starts to represent there. If I can sort of like correctly get the lines to communicate that change in plane is happening, then I'm kind of golden. I've mission accomplished if that's the case. Again, we're trying not to be overly busy, but it might just have to happen anyway. And of course, the thing is, like, having the face become a little bit busy is not a terribly bad thing. On this particular, if this were a character, you know, because they are like really old and or at least their face is very very like wrinkled. So there's a solid reason as to why they would have a lot of shapes on their face. I guess for me, I would also like to have the ability to like draw it a little quicker. I feel like I'm spending too much time and effort still a little bit here figuring out like, but that, I mean, it's fine for now. If I were to draw this a little more like, if I were to be a lot more extreme on this stuff, the stuff that I would start, I think, focusing in on more does have to do with these kind of like smaller shapes, how they start to kind of get more emphasized as you get older. You get a kind of Peter Griffinification of the face kind of going on there. But like how to keep that rendered, that's really the thing. It's not so much how to render it from any particular angle, but how to keep the particulars kind of like going. That's something I feel like I was still kind of like working on when I stopped doing cartoons so much. Was like, how do I think about these things as like not just like 2D drawings, but like it's kind of like three-dimensional shapes that will like change in space as they turn, but like consistently, if that makes sense. Real lazy bastard on this part of the hair here. Like I said, just making some squiggles. Just kind of see what happens. Some bigger squiggles sort of contain some of these shapes, but happen. There we go. Holy moly, I've been streaming for an hour and 40 minutes. I'm gonna do a thing I should have done up 5 or 6 times by now. Get up and stretch. Anybody hearing this? You get up and stretch too. Oh God. Shake all the tiredness out of those bones and joints. Good Lord. Ugh. I just set like a timer that's like gets a big like Evangelion, like a computer voice to come on and say, "Get up, do your stretches." All right, I'm going to move on to the next one, but I think that roughly is what I would do as far as like the rendering of this particular face. I kind of go further down this direction. Yep. Alrighty. Now, once again, there really is, I swear to God, there's, there's a particular, like pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood kind of like painter who paints like exclusively chicks that have this facial profile. I don't know how much. Oh, sorry. I don't know how much more specific I can get than that. Otherwise, then there's like, if you go around art galleries looking, you will see this lady's like almost exactly her face on like. I think they're not as old as the sort of like painting techniques would like lead you to believe, but like 1800s painter, I want to say. More than anything, there's a kind of, I don't know how well to describe it. When I do these drawings, there's like a mindset that I'm trying to get into. It happens sometimes. The first time I streamed, I managed to just do it like naturally. I'm still chasing that high. That's my sort of like high water mark for these things. But like, it happens when I'm drawing alone a lot too, where I just kind of start to develop this attitude of like, I know what I'm doing, I can do this. I don't know, and it just like works. There's a mindset of sort of effortlessness. Versus right now, and the last time that I streamed, I can feel, in addition to it, a sort of self-consciousness. Not necessarily in the sense, not completely, not only in the sense of like a negative thing, but like an awareness of myself getting in my own way, not sort of like a perfectly kind of like mindful union of sort of ability and purpose, which I'm sometimes able to sort of just tap into. And I know how to do it. I know that it's not just like a. I'd be tempted in any other circumstance. I feel like to proclaim it as. So these shoulders are a lot broader and a lot more sloped. I feel like in a lot of other circumstances I would kind of be like, it's those are just the times that I feel confident and then like things work out. But like, I think I've managed to figure it out with like calligraphy. If I have this sort of attitude with calligraphy, if I can show up and just sort of be like, I can figure this out, I know what I'm doing. Even if I fuck up, it will be better, it will be easier. I'll know kind of like, it's not even so much that I don't, so it's not that I don't fuck up, it's more of a matter of like, when I fuck up, I don't get like kind of freaked out in the same way, and that makes so much of the difference. I don't have the same like level of anxiety towards my own like success and failure. So I'm in search of that. I'm in search of that when it comes to just like drawing at large. One of the things that I'm sort of streaming for, actually, to be perfectly honest, is to sort of because that's one of the things, is that like the sensation of that, the feeling of like that confidence is when I do have it, is sort of the like opposite of the like that fearful sense that I get, where it's like I can't draw anything, I don't know what I'm doing, and especially when it gets into the realm of like I can't draw in front of people, it's terrifying. This is a lot of what I was like when I was younger, and like I think a lot of the reasons why I kind of treat that as terrifying is because of the fear of like I'm gonna do bad. So getting up in front of people, drawing live, being sort of submitting my process in this kind of way, but not necessarily like the fruits of my process. Like I don't necessarily post these anywhere, but you can watch me make them, and like so far that has been a really that's been a really good sort of like way of thinking about this. See if we can keep it up. Because again, I know that like I know from calligraphy, I know from those sorts of ventures that like if I can create it, if I can emulate it, if I can get that feeling down, if I can feel it before I sit down, I'm gonna do well. I know I'm gonna do fine. Then the whole session will just turn out so much better and different. God knows how long that'll take. I've got multiple decades of my own life and thought to sort of like undo on those regards, but that's part of my motivation for streaming, at least. A little cheat sheet here. God, her face is just so odd that like I look at my own like drawing and I'm like, is that right? Is it wrong? I'm not like it just. I think that's probably why like actually to be totally fair, this is like a common thing for like illustrators of the like late 1800s, early 1900s, is to like have a lover or a just like an acquaintance with like a really interesting face and draw them constantly. Like Leyendecker is known for this. Can't turn off my anxious brain long enough to get to that point. No, so, like neither can I, right now. It's so this is sort of the realm of like I know that I've done it with calligraphy. I know that I've like I've done it successfully once with something else. Can I do it again? And I guess that there's a sort of there's a statement of there's a statement of some confidence, or at least I believe in myself to a certain degree that I can get there. I can accomplish it, that part. Am I there yet? No, not even close. But can I? Do I think that I can get there? I can make the old college try, you know, and see what happens. Anyway, yeah, I really do think that like there's a certain type of like there's an era of painter that just like has if you met someone in your life who was like really beautiful in a way that was just not not super like conventional, you were like set. You had just like a person to draw forever, and they were interesting, and like you could just sort of like, and that's kind of what like Leyendecker did. Is that that's I mean I think I already started to say this. Is that like Leyendecker had like like half of his really good drawings all have this sort of like androgynous kind of character, sometimes dressed as a man, sometimes dressed as a woman, but like clearly the same face. And it's like it's been discovered over time that like that's just Leyendecker's boyfriend. Like that was just the artist's like live-in boyfriend that he had for all those years in the 1920s, being cool dudes. I find that weirdly romantic, I guess. Oh, to be someone's oddly shaped muse. Okie doke. I think we will move on to the next one, and then that will be this very lovely young gentleman will be our final one for the day, and then we will be done till Saturday. That's the thought. Thought I was going to go longer today, but back unpleasant right now. Did not plan for this stream. I need to, the thing that I need to remember to do for next time is to have like food plans figured out beforehand. That's a thing that I'm is emerging as a theme. Go figure. Not like that's never happened in my life before, but you know. What happened to the music? That was weird. The old contain 30 seconds of silence at the end of your track trick. Always gets him. Always gets me. We should all be so lucky as to have eyebrows as good as this dude. Yeah. Fuck, we should all be so lucky as to have jawlines as good as this dude. Jesus. On the other hand, he totally does have the haircut that I used to have that I would refer to as dirtbag 90s boyfriend hair. And can corroborate. Does add a lot to one's appearance as a fella. Powerful haircut technology. Powerful joke if I can fucking get it off correctly. If I can not trip over my own damn words. Well, more powerful. I don't know about. I've made him look much more dirtbag and 90s and boyfriend. I think. In my depiction of him. He's more of all of these things. I think this is my most successful cartoon portrait of the afternoon evening. Don't. I really hoped it would be that one, but you know, whatever. It's fine. Beggars can't be choosers, and this is it's turned out well. It's turned out very well. Alright, if I add too much more dirtbag, I add too much more 90s, and I add too much more boyfriend, he's just going to turn into Johnny Depp, and nobody wants that. I think that is where I'm going to call it for the day. That is a 2 hour, 10 hour. 2 hour, 10 hour. Good words, Max. 2 hours, 10 minute stream. I will be back on Saturday, God willing. We will see how that shakes out. Since at the moment I've only been keeping to my to two of my promised 3 days a week, but I will need to do Saturday in order to actually hit the second day this week. So that I'm going to be treating that as like a non-negotiable with myself. We'll see if that actually works. Yeah. I hope everybody had a good time. Thank you for joining in. Thank you, Cricket, for being active in the comments section, as always. And I will be back with a new art experiment, new art journey to go on in a couple of days. And I will see you then. Everybody have a wonderful one.